watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome to another season of Inspiring Leaders. I'm Donna Newman, your host for our show. Thank you for watching our program. Through this show, we meet community leaders and we examine how they're using their unique talents and skill sets to make a difference. And through our discussions, we hope to inspire others to discover and to share their own leadership abilities for the overall betterment of our community. Now, today on our show, we'll focus on performing arts in the Mid-South and specifically on the Germantown Community Theater, an organization whose mission is to engage, to entertain, to educate, and to enrich. Now listen closely, because by the end of our show, I believe that you'll want to visit in person to see firsthand how this 52-year-old intimate theater melds their excellent programming with an innovative approach to create an exceptional experience. Now, in short, they're a treasure for our community. So let's meet GCT. In our first segment, we'll meet Marques Brown, the brand new Executive Director of Germantown Community Theater, along with BC Jennings, a longtime volunteer for the organization. And in our second segment, Marques and I will be joined by Brandy Miller, newly elected to GCT's Board of Directors. Joining us now are Marques Brown, Executive Director, and BC Jennings, proud volunteer for GCT, Germantown Community Theater. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm so glad y'all are here today. Well, first, let me welcome Marques Brown, the brand new, and I mean brand new, Executive Director
Yes.
of GCT. Now, you have a long, varied career in the theater, pretty much theater concentrated. Tell us about that background and how you came to GCT.
Sure. Well, I think I discovered that theater was going to be a part of my life no matter what I did, probably between middle and high school, honestly. That's where it generally starts, I think. And I grew up in the Pacific Northwest in Oregon. After graduating high school and doing 1 year of college, I did some traveling, and I moved to Umeå, Sweden for a couple years.
Wow.
After which I lived in Chicago for a couple years. And in both of those places, I participated in and studied theater in different programs and with organizations that focused on theater as storytelling, of course, but also on how to use theater as a means of social awareness and social change. And so I really took a lot from those experiences and moved down here to Memphis in 2002 to work for Theater Memphis, their education department. I was there for several years, in which I continued the work of educational theater and performing in the evenings whenever I could. But I found a penchant towards education and theater and how those came together. And so I went back to school and I finished. I worked until I got my master's degree in arts and education, and all the while performing, teaching in the classroom across the Memphis area, and learning how to design and direct and continuing to perform whenever I could. Most recently, I took a job as technical director at Germantown Community Theater just a couple years ago. Have been working there ever since, even though I've volunteered in many capacities and worked as a director throughout the last decade at Germantown Community Theater. But when the position became available, there was a lot of talk and discussion about, mostly just me with myself, about whether it was the right time to move into an administrative position in theater. And I'm so glad that I did.
Well, I'm glad you did too. I know that you made the decision easy for that committee to pick you. And I must, full confession here, I'm actually the president of the board of Germantown Community Theater. And so I was a piece of that decision, and you did make it easy. That background led right to where you are and made you the ideal fit for it. We're glad to have you there.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, now, BC, your background isn't so theater-centric. It's got a lot of other things in it. Tell us about your background and how you ended up at GCT.
Well, my path to the theater obviously is much different than most of the people that are associated with it. I came to the theater, to Germantown anyway, probably about 20 years ago. I was looking for something to do with my daughter and encouraged her to audition for plays and tried to find something that that I could do along with that. And prior to that, I spent 14 years in the Marines. I've taught at the college level. I've had my own remodeling business for both commercial and residential. I've traveled pretty extensively, and the opportunity to work in the theater kind of came naturally to me because I did have a construction background, and I found at that time the Germantown Theater was very welcoming. They were looking for people to volunteer. They encouraged them. They provided a lot of opportunity for me. Since I've been there, I've branched out and done some other things within the theater, but it's all been very interesting, and it's kind of a little jewel tucked over there in the corner of Germantown, and it's really kind of just personally rewarding working there.
That's wonderful. Well, okay, so tell me this. What makes GCT, Germantown Community Theater, so different from other theaters in the area? Because, you know, clearly you've chosen to support this theater. Why?
Well, I think it was a word that you used in the introduction, which was intimate. It's a small theater. There's only 99 seats in there. And I think you feel a part of it. You're very close to the stage. You're very close to the actors. And it presents a story to you that's very easy to follow because you are so close to it. You're not sitting 37 rows back in the theater or something. There's only 10 rows. And so you're right up there, kind of involved, immersed in what's going on stage. And I think that's what I like about it.
That's a really good way to put it. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say immersed in it, but that's a really great way to put it. I like that. We'll have to keep that, Marques.
Sure.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, tell me this then. As we look at this season going forward, what is going to be different about this season 52?
Sure. Well, that's a very good question. You know, you guys have both been using a lot of language that I love. I love immersed. I love intimate. Part of my vision as the new executive director is to really focus on the community of Germantown Community Theater. And I want to make sure that with every experience that people have as they come into the doors, they feel like they're a part of it all. It's one of the best things that keeps live theater around, right? Despite all the streaming platforms and movie theaters, all great forms of entertainment, but live theater will always have that element of performer and audience and being there together. And if there's anything I could stress to the Germantown community right now, it's together is how I hope to move forward with the theater. And one way that I hope to do that, I've got a lot of initiatives on the fire to make sure that we really stress community and inclusiveness. But one initiative I want to work hard to push forward, and we will be doing so very soon, is our new volunteer program. I say new, and it's not really new. As BC can tell you, Germantown Community Theater has a rich history of volunteer work and volunteerism and a lot of people stepping in to help. But as we also all know, we've all been through fairly recently a global pandemic that kind of changed the face of how we all interact with one another. So ever since we kind of have been through that, and I've come on to be a staff member at Germantown Community Theater, we've been working real hard to do more shows per season than ever in the past, but probably with less help than we've had than any time in its history. So I am going to be working hard to make sure that we stress not just the need for volunteers, but the desire to reach out to the community, to have more community members come and join us of all ages, of all backgrounds, of all abilities. Because, we're an educational foundation as well as an entertaining one, as you said in our mission. And we want to be able to help train people up on how to do different things in the theater, but really to make great use of their times and talents. And I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity coming up and lots of new ways for people in the community to find out how they can step in and help. And I'm very much looking forward to that, to growing our resources through volunteerism.
That's wonderful. BC, let me ask you, I clearly can't, well, maybe not clearly, but I can't build a set. And what kinds of things can other people get involved in? What can you get involved in besides building a set? What all do you do?
Well, it's not just building. I mean, there's a lot of things. I think sometimes volunteers are maybe a little intimidated because they see the finished product when they come to a play. But behind the scenes work sometimes is not so much mundane, but it's in incremental steps. And so someone with rudimentary carpentry skills, rudimentary painting skills, dressing, dealing with colors, things of that sort, those are things not only that they can bring to us, but it's also something that the staff and the other volunteers can help them improve upon and widen their scope. There's things I was in construction for a long, long time, and when I came to the theater, some of those early tech directors showed me things that are done in the theater to make things look real that were really fascinating to me. And I think it's those type of things, those skills that keep people interested, and making sure that they have something to do and that they feel that is meaningful, I think, is important.
You know, we also have education, a big education background here. Yep. Is there a place for volunteers to get involved there as well?
Well, absolutely. You know, we are expanding our education and outreach departments all the time. Our education director, Christina Hernandez, has been with the theater for years, and she's just fantastic. And as far as expanding the kind of programming and the kind of students that can get involved, she's been instrumental in that. One thing that I also bring with me as new executive director there is a background in inclusive theater, which it means reaching out into the community and finding maybe special needs individuals or neurodiverse individuals that being able to go not just to see theater but to participate in it might be often outside of the scope of their experience or ability. And I am trying to expand programming that allows them in to give them the experience of doing a collaborative artistic works and experience the benefits of that. And we're always in need of more volunteers as we expand that program. And those volunteers don't need to know a whole lot. They just have to be willing, be open-minded and open-hearted, and ready to work alongside these neurodiverse community members in order to be great role models for them and to encourage them to participate along with the other actors and designers and singers and dancers. And so that's another way that people can get involved even without knowing anything about how to build a set or design.
Okay, you're using the word neurodiverse.
Yes, yes ma'am.
I do know what it means politically correctly.
Sure.
But for our audience, what does that mean?
Sure. So we know that there's all kinds of people, right? And neurodiverse is a term, it's kind of an umbrella term that covers a wide range or spectrum of people, and that includes people with autism or autistic people. It covers people that might have Down syndrome. Really, it even covers people with different varying levels of ADHD and other what we think of as learning differences or learning disabilities. You know, people whose minds might work a little different than what we call your neurotypical people, or, you know, the normies, as we sometimes say.
And you've recently moved into the deaf community as well,
absolutely,
correct?
100%. So, you know, we really pride ourselves on this year being able to offer what we call a sensory-friendly performance for every single one of our shows, and that also includes an ASL, American Sign Language interpreter, so that we are really trying to reach out to anyone in the community who may have thought there were roadblocks in the way to coming and attend some theater. We're trying to open those doors wide and welcome everybody to come experience, you know, what many of us take for granted to see all the time.
Well, the Germantown Community Theater really is the little jewel that you mentioned a minute ago, and I'm really happy to be associated with it, and I'm looking forward to so many even more people attending. Will you stay with me a minute, Marques?
Would love to. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, BC, so much for being with us today. You do an excellent job for GCT, and Germantown Community Theater appreciates you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now, we're going to pause now for a short break, and when we return, Marques will be joined by Brandy Miller, longtime community volunteer and newly elected member of the Board of Directors for Germantown Community Theater.
I believe the orchestra program is an important part of education because it gives students a way to process and express emotions that they don't get in other classes.
Good, let's do that one more time.
Before I went into the orchestra program, I didn't really see the value of music until I really got into the community of people who were so into the idea of music. And so I feel like once I got around those individuals, they really helped me find myself and realize that music is what makes me happy.
When I first went into orchestra, I was a very shy and very quiet and closed-off person, but now I see myself as a bit more confident and a bit more open to not only other people, but to new opportunities.
I believe that the atmosphere is very friendly, but also open-minded. We all are open to hear others' ideas and just come together as one to figure out what we need to do to get to our one goal.
One and ready, go! Here we go. Nice.
The students learn teamwork. They learn how to work together, not just for a win, like in a sports activity, but their main goal is aesthetics and beauty.
I love that in orchestra you get to use music with your peers to create a story, and you get to give that to the world, basically.
For more information about the Kappa program, visit ghskappa.com or call 755-7775. You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome back. I'm Donna Newman, and you are watching Inspiring Leaders. Today, we're talking about Germantown Community Theater, and we're so pleased that Marques Brown, GCT's Executive Director, continues to speak with us today, and we're delighted to be joined by Brandy Miller, newly elected to the Board of Directors of Germantown Community Theater. Welcome, Brandy, and welcome back, Marques.
Thank you.
Thank you both for being here today. Brandy, you have been on the Board of Directors before for Germantown Community Theater. It's been, I don't know, 15 years or so, maybe longer?
2005. I was the outstanding board member.
Ah,
and I was on for several years. I had so much fun.
It is, and so you're back, huh?
I'm back.
And so you decided that coming back was a really great idea.
I love the theater, so that I really want to do everything and anything I can to support it.
Well, you are a really sought-after volunteer in this community, not to make you get a really big head or anything, but we both know that you are. And in fact, you were president of this PTA at one point for Germantown High School.
Correct.
And you've been president of pretty much everything at one point or another. I'm just really glad to have you back on the Board of Directors. Tell me what is different about the board this year than when you were on it before.
Well, I'm not sure it's so different. I believe we still have the same challenges we had then. However, I feel the theater has grown immensely. I moved here in '86. I was from New York originally, and oh my God, where's the theater? And we were driving around, we kind of lived near the theater, and one day we found it, and I said to my husband, thank God. But seriously, I've always been a theater person. I think now money's harder to get. Everyone has a $1 or $2 that they can put towards a charity. Our key is to get your whole dollar. We don't want just 10 cents of your dollar. We want, costs have gone up. And I think I watched GCT stretch every thin dime. They're very good, they're very prudent with their money, and that's the place I want to put my mark. Not a theater that is wasteful, but a theater that says, we're going to do great here with what we have.
You know, you're the master of the game at fundraising, which is one reason you are so sought after as a community volunteer, besides the fact you're just plain fun. But tell me this, what kinds of things do you see? Where does GCT get their money?
Well, GCT gets it from ticket sales, but we really need to have something over and above our ticket sales and creative partnerships. We thought we'd have a gala this year. So in February, we're going to have a gala called fall in love with GCT, which is what I've done. And it's right around Valentine's Day. It should be very fun. I believe we'll have live entertainment from past performances or future. The theater people there are so talented, and that's what impresses me. They come, they do it, they have fun. There's no squabbling. Nobody's, got a big head. People are there for the right reasons.
So you're giving us a save the date right now for February?
February 10th. We're aiming for February 10th because, again, our theme will be Fall in Love. We're hoping that you will attend, but if not, we're going to give you opportunities to contribute to the theater. Again, I need your dollar, not 90 cents, not 50 cents, but I need your dollar, and I will do it with a smile. I'll even come to your house and pick it up.
Well, that gala is going to be great fun. So we know that the ways that GCT earns money or gets the dollars to run the theater, because this is not sponsored by the city per se. We're not employees of the city and that kind of thing. It is a true nonprofit, and we do run with courtesy and funds from the city, correct?
100%, yes.
All right, so the city gives us money. Who else gives us money?
Well, we've got the Tennessee Arts Commission as well as Arts Memphis, who are just outstanding organizations that help fund so many wonderful artistic venues and organizations across the Memphis area and the greater area. But we rely a lot on, as Brandy mentioned, we have our ticket sales. You'd be surprised at a nonprofit organization theater like ours, though, how little overhead really comes of ticket sales. It costs money to put on a show. We make that money back by getting people out to those shows, and if we're lucky, we get a little bit extra on top of there. But we rely a lot on our sponsors, our donors, our creative partners, and the members of our board who have taken it upon themselves to have that responsibility to help raise that money to keep our doors open. So we rely a lot on the kindness and the entrepreneurial spirit of regular citizens of Germantown and Memphis and the surrounding area. Again, it comes down to community. Whether you're investing your money, investing in us financially, or investing your times and talents as a volunteer, we'll take it. But we want to make sure that everybody that invests in any way with us feels like they're part of the GCT family and definitely feels appreciated, because we want to keep you coming back.
Every day, absolutely, absolutely. Well. When I consider where dollars can go in the community, there's some 3,500 nonprofit organizations, so there's a lot vying for your dollar. GCT makes itself worthy of those dollars by the excellent performances and the education program. Talk a minute again about the education program, because especially the summer camps, the things throughout the year too.
Sure. Well, again, Christina Hernandez, our fantastic education director, has put new programs and initiatives in place to just expand what we can offer to young people all across the community. So we do several week-long summer camps every summer. A lot of times we do what we call the show in a week model, where we take the big blockbuster Broadway musical and we kind of use it as the backdrop for an educational experience where kids learn about dance, they learn about song, they learn about line memorization, but really they learn about collaborating together to create some beautiful art and theater. And it's just wonderful to see the young people go through that experience.
Well, the thing I found so interesting about your education program is that it doesn't just concentrate on children.
You're very right, yes.
Tell me about that, because you've expanded the meaning of education.
Well, for sure. And, thanks to some community partners like Creative Aging, we've had the opportunity to branch out. And besides just the Full Spectrum Theater Initiative I mentioned a little bit ago about expanding to the neurodiverse community, we've also had the opportunity to reach out to our senior community as well. Just a month before last, we had a wonderful senior citizen musical theater intensive. It lasted only 3 to 4 days, where a group of senior citizens, through Creative Aging and through Germantown Community Theater, came into our space, took lessons from myself, from Christina, from our engagement director, Annie Freres, and they learned all about musical theater, about acting, about design, and by the end of their time with us, they performed a little piece from Fiddler on the Roof together, and it was just beautiful to see them engaged that way. And we have another one coming up soon. Rather than an intensive, it's going to be a several-week process where they don't come every single day of the week, but they'll come 1 day a week for several weeks. It's going to be very similar to what we did before, but spread out over time, and I think with even greater results of what they'll be able to perform by the end.
Tell me about season 52. What's the next play?
Okay, well, we're right around the corner. We're just a week out from opening the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. And no, we're not hosting a bunch of children to come there and spell, although that's a very worthy venue. That's the name of the musical. I'm sure many of our viewers are familiar with it. In the early 2000s, it came to Broadway, and it's just a hilarious but touching piece of musical theater. It's so much fun. Our production is directed by the beautiful and talented Miss Ashley Bug Brown, who is a theater teacher at Lausanne School and has been for 20 years, and also a director all around the community for both children and adult productions. If you come to see the show, you might see another familiar face on the stage. I get to be in the show. I have a little part, but a fun one in this particular show. So come see me and the rest of the spellers for Spelling Bee. It's going to be a hilarious and fun production.
September 15th through October 1st.
That's correct.
On
yes.
the Fridays and Saturday nights and Sunday afternoons. Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Okay, so that's going to be a lot of fun. That's the next one coming up, and after that comes Dracula.
That's right. Dracula, The Bloody Truth, to be specific, which it is a new adaptation by a company called Landavette Bet out of England, and they take all kinds of mostly British literature, classical literature, including Treasure Island, Dracula, Wuthering Heights, Great Expectations, and do kind of slapsticky, small cast productions that are very funny, very witty, involves almost clowning type performances. They're very talented men, and it's going to be a great production.
I know it will. Brandy, give me a last thought.
I'd like to have you give your time, talent, and treasures to GCT, because I fell in love with them a long time ago. And my goal as part of the events that is going to raise funds, I really would like you to just step through the door and give us a chance, because I think once you walk through that door,
you'll be family. You'll be family.
You'll be hooked. How's that?
That's good. Marques, give me one last thought.
Sure. Brandy said a lot right there. I think to be a good patron of the arts is kind of like being a good parent. A lot of it is just showing up and participating. And I think Germantown Community Theater is a place where you will not be sorry once you get in the doors, even if you're just there to be entertained. You'll love it, and we know you'll keep coming back. But we'd love to have you come in and step through those doors even more often to give us as much of your time, talents, and treasure, just like Miss Brandy said, as you can.
And that's Germantown Community Theater.
That's correct.
Right? Thank you both so much for being here. Thank you for the good work you do for Germantown Community Theater and for our entire area, for our Mid-South. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we thank you for being with us today for Inspiring Leaders. We appreciate our guests on today's show, Marques Brown, B.C. Jennings, and Brandy Miller, all with Germantown Community Theater. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about the absolutely entertaining theater that they produce, and I hope you're planning to join as a creative partner and as a loyal supporter of the Germantown community, like I do. Now, if you've been inspired and you'd like to see any of their upcoming productions, or if you'd like to donate, to get involved, or just to know more about Germantown Community Theater, please do visit their website, gctcomeplay.org. That's gctcomeplay.org. Thank you once more for watching our show. And if you're interested in the air dates of Inspiring Leaders or for our station's complete programming, you can visit our guide and visit our station on GHS-TV.org. where we're streaming 24 hours a day. You can keep up with GHS-TV by visiting our website. We hope you'll like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you for joining us today for Inspiring Leaders. We hope you'll watch us again next month.